In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I spot photographic opportunities. When I have no idea what I'm going to see, I'm having to look at the landscape around me and just pick out portions of it and see things that could work as a photograph. I am currently spending a month in Scotland on a landscape photography trip. Today I'm going to be driving into the Glen Etive Valley in Scotland. And I had a planned walk, but in the end we never got there because there were just too many photographic opportunities on the way and we ran out of time. And this video is going to be the story of that journey. This is one of those instances where the lighting dictates the picture, because sometimes the light catches something in a certain way where if the light doesn't catch it, it's not interesting. But when the light does catch it, it comes to life, and I think this is one of those moments. And the background looks very pretty. I'm not going to try and expose for the sky in any way, because what's the point? It's blindingly bright over there for me. I can't see into the light. It's overexposed even in my eyes. It looks pretty like that. This is one of those things where you have to sort of think to yourself, does it actually look nice anyway? And yes, it does. So I'm going to let it be bright. I'm not going to bracket anything. I'm just going to let it be what it actually is and let it blow in that corner over there. And I think it will work. So let's take this picture. I'm not going to shoot this on a tripod. That would be crazy. There's no point. It's far too much light. Not necessary. And I'll try a few different compositions and see what we get. The light on these trees from the side like this is really phenomenal. I think it looks really pretty. I want to capture this picture just like this with these trees being highlighted so well by the light. This picture only really works because of the lighting, and that's often enough, especially when it comes to landscapes. The lighting kind of makes everything happen. The light is dramatically pouring through the valley in complete silence. It's so powerful and so bright. What I love about it is how the mountains are silenced by it in the background. They're looming over it. This turned out to be one of my favourite pictures from the day. When it comes to creating pictures like this, I always wanted to have a consistent look so that I can repeat it again and again and again. And so I created my Lightroom presets in order to do that. You can buy them in a link in the description down below. How stunning is this? This could make a really nice picture. It's backlit, the sun is over in that direction. And I think that could be ideal for this kind of a photograph. So let's get the camera out and get this picture quickly. So I'm gonna go to f8 for this. Obviously I'll be at ISO 100, but I'm gonna increase the shutter speed to the point where my histogram is not showing the sky as blowing out anymore. Now you might want to, if you're going to do this, you might want to brighten up your picture first, get your focus, and then darken it down to that point. So we're going to go for 1/320th of a second, f8 ISO 100, and then we can take that picture. I might even go a bit darker. Let's go for 400th of a second. And I'm going to do one as well where it is that brighter exposure like this. And this isn't in order to bracket, it's just, I don't know which I'm going to prefer. I might like to let the sky just blow out and we'll see how that is. I really love the picture overlooking the river here. The river itself becoming its own leading line and the subject both at the same time. I think rivers always give a feeling of safety because it's a water source, somewhere where we can get food, water, and we can travel on as well. I think when we look at rivers like this, we always feel that sense of, this is a good location. Well, what I really liked was the next picture that I came up with. So we have this stunning scene right here. We've got the footbridge in the foreground. We've got this beautiful tree here off to the side and another tree here. Sun setting in the background and the mountains. To me, this is like a classic composition. It's perfect because it brings so many key elements together. The things that it's bringing together is a kind of a way to a destination with the footbridge. We can imagine a little boat being down on the side of the water and that we're going to sail off into the sunset on it. The trees give us that atmosphere. These are the additional objects in the picture that help with the storytelling. They create the atmosphere. Imagine you're making a painting. You start with blank canvas, you put some grass in, you put a river in, maybe you put in some trees to make that feel more alive, give it that atmosphere. The path brings in the human element to it. And for me, this is what makes this shot. This is the kind of shots you can only find by walking around and exploring. I had no idea that this was here. You have to look for the right weather, and sometimes it just comes together. And you get lucky the more you go out and the more time you spend outdoors and you explore. But you have to go out and explore. It's the only way to have these moments where you get something like this. I think compositionally this is going to really work because it's framed either side. we've got this path going down the middle, and then we've got the sunset in the background. I'm going to be going for exposing for the sky. It's really important that I do that, because if I step out of the frame for a minute, this darker exposure like this for the sky, what that's going to do, as you see when it goes dark like that, it's going to retain all of that colour information in those highlight areas. And we absolutely want that. We want to keep all of that highlight information, because that's also colour information that keeps all that colour in there. And we want to be able to see this incredible colour when we're taking the picture. So it's important. The most important exposure is the sky exposure. I don't care if some parts of the picture go dark. What I do care about is having that lighting being represented properly within the picture. So we need to go for a dark exposure when we look on the histogram. I'm going to show you all of that in a moment now, because it's just one of those things. It's really important to understand it. And once you understand it properly, then you'll know what to do when you end up in a situation like this. It's like, how do I position those compositional elements together? Use the trees to frame. Use the path as a small leading line, which isn't over the top. Let the lighting and the mountains in the background do the heavy lifting of the emotional content that's in that picture. And when you edit, already in my mind I'm thinking, I want to emphasize this pathway that's leading down to the side of the river. It would just be great if there was a little boat down at the side as well, so you have somewhere to go with it. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really good photograph, so I'm really happy with it. So let's go ahead and shoot it. So let's grab that now. So I'm 100th of a second, f8, ISO 100. Focusing roughly where that bridge is. The reason I'm using the viewfinder and not using the back screen is because my exposure is so dark, I can't compose it. I'd have to switch exposure preview off on the screen on the back in order to do it. So what I'm trying to do now is use the viewfinder, knowing that my exposure is correct. So I can set my exposure like this on the screen on the back, so I'm exposing for the sky, so that I'm looking at the histogram, seeing where the peaking is. This is what my histogram will look like for this. Just starting to peak a little bit, but that is in the background, and everything else bunched over to the left. Because of that, it's very hard for me to get a composition like this. So I have two options. I can either go in and switch the exposure preview off, which will fix that issue. So if I come to off, then it will brighten up a bit, like this. I can just use the viewfinder, which is what I'm going to be doing. That sun is getting brighter and brighter. You see how it's all lighting up now? It's really incredible. We're getting this incredibly bright light. I have to watch my exposures for this, but I'm still good. Now the sun is actually in the shot, and I don't mind it. Now I've got one more picture to come. We were getting towards last light. There was a shot that I saw when we were driving in, and I just didn't know whether we were going to get it in time. And I had to stop the car in the road and get out to take this picture. And because of that, I didn't have time to record as well, so I can only show you the final result. But this is a handheld shot. It's literally stop the car, get out, grab the camera, get the settings right, and take the picture. In much of the same way as you've seen me doing in the rest of the video. But this scene was taken from a little bridge which overlooked the valley. And what you see is this picture. And what I love about it is this group of buildings. This just adds this human element to the picture and shows that people live in this environment, people exist in this environment. Whilst the rest of the valley looks untouched, you have these beautiful trees, this incredible river, and these amazing mountains in the background just framing it all. To me, this is a scene that I would shoot many times over again, but I'm so glad I saw this and that I found it. This in the snow at sort of blue hour with a few stars coming out could be absolutely epic, and I really want to try and get that photograph. That's the one that I'm after now, having seen this. But I love this picture. You may have noticed I'm using the Nikon D750 in this video. And if you are interested in that camera or you want to know why I bought it specifically, then I really suggest you check out this video here, because it's going to explain to you why I bought it and what my thought processes were in selecting a camera like this.